Now we're actually going to speak to, for the very, very first time on the Friday Night Lounge, and as part of a brand new feature here, we're actually going to speak to Garry Stagg, who is at Knockhill Racing Circuit, and he'll be telling us what's coming up at Scotland's premier motorsports circuit over the next month or so. And he joins us on the line from Knockhill Racing Circuit. Garry, good evening. You're live on Radio West Fife.
Hi, good evening, and good evening to all of your listeners. Currently, just to paint you a little picture, I am sitting in the commentary tower at Knockhill Racing Circuit, looking and watching what is basically testing, and at the moment what is out on the circuit are Scottish sports and saloons, so I can see all kinds of wonderful cars, a whole host of MX-5 Mazdas, but strange things, Volkswagen Siroccos, Caterham 7s, there's a Mark 1 Escort out there as well. I think the classic guys are getting out as well, and indeed a legend or two. We've got a pretty spectacular weekend's racing coming our way. The normal Scottish Motor Racing Club Scottish Championship meeting is here, but it's been converted into a two-day meeting with a visiting round with no less than, I think it's there's certainly more than 10 races purely for Mazda MX-5s.
Excellent.
And of course the MX-5 is, although it's a Japanese sports car, I consider it to be, because it was designed originally and the concept came out of Surrey, and because it's basically a Ford engine that's in the car, despite the fact that it's built in Japan, it is in fact the iconic British sports car without all the bits that fall off.
and I've just looked at the now I'm not too familiar with this weekend's events, to be honest, in terms of format, but I've looked at the format of it on the website www.knockhill.com. And I have to say, it looks to be a rather exciting weekend, a rather tightly packed schedule, it has to be said.
Very much so, because, the conventional classes or categories that the Scottish Motor Racing Club run the Scottish Championship racing in is, of course, Formula Ford, and Formula Ford is the single-seater. Hello, there's a very, very smoky Porsche just going into the pit lane just now. That will need some work doing to it. Hopefully it hasn't parked any oil on the track. To return, Formula Ford is, if you like, the entry level, and it's the open wheel class. It's been running for the best part of 50 years, and it provides us with some fantastically exciting racing. And incidentally, if you think of going racing, you can buy a fairly competitive Formula Ford for about £5,000 or £6,000, and as long as you don't do too much damage for it, you can sell it for that at the end of the season as well. It doesn't have to be a desperately expensive way to play.
It's a very cheap way to enter motorsport, and it has to be said, along with the tight format that is for this weekend, it's even tighter in terms of the standings with the Formula Ford Championship, in particular with the Class A. It looks to be very close competition. I have to say that's the only class that looks very closely competitive. The other ones look as if it's like Sebastian Vettel-like dominance.
Yes, you do tend to get sometimes people who just dominate the class right throughout the year, but certainly in the Formula Ford category, which I don't have in front of me, I have to confess. I'm supposed to know all about these things, and you are offering me more knowledge than I've got to hand, which is very good. That's great to know that somebody's paying, people are paying attention. That's really nice to know. But yes, effectively, the racing itself is always close, it's always tight, but you do tend to get sometimes situations where people can just walk away. Incidentally, I'm just looking across now towards Scotsman Corner, where I can see amber lights flashing, and that's because somebody has parked his Caterham backwards in the gravel trap over there. But that's fine. Everybody knows he's there, and he's not parked at the scene of the next accident.
Exactly.
He's in a fairly safe place, so that'll be fine. But even in testing, things can go a little bit wrong. But yes, there's Formula Ford. One of my favourite classes is Legends. Legends, as you possibly know, are these sort of 4/5 scale pocket rockets. based or modelled, I should say, on American coupes and sedans of the 30s and 40s, but with a Yamaha 1250cc motorcycle engine, sequential gearbox. They've got quite a short wheelbase, and therefore a comparatively wide track, hard compound tyres. What all this means to the layman is they've got more power than grip, which is what racing cars should have.
Exactly.
And so there's lots of sideways action and an awful lot of entertainment and fun to be had with Legends racing, and that is always close racing too, because... Sorry.
And exactly, and I have to say, that's exactly what we want. We want more power than grip, to be honest.
Yes, definitely. There's no doubt about that. The other nice thing about the Legends is they mix up their grids wonderfully. Conventionally, what you do is you go out and you put in a really blinding lap in qualifying, and that's you on pole position or front row or whatever. But in Legends, it doesn't matter what they do in the morning. They draw their positions out of the hat.
Exactly.
Then for their second race, they're the reverse of what they were on the first one. And then the last race of the day is made up of the fastest men start from the back. So there's loads of overtaking, and it's great fun. And it's very rare for somebody to win all three races in that situation.
That's unlike Formula One, I suppose, in many respects.
Very much so, yes. So a lot of fun in that category. But of course, there's classics. The classic sports and saloons are not that old. You know, you probably think they are because you're just a stripling and a beardless youth, but old men like me...
I'm not sure about the beardless bit. There is a bit of a stubble on me at the moment.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's because you're doing an Andy Murray support, I can tell. But let's cross our sports as well, don't we?
Exactly.
No, the thing about the classic sports and saloons is there are cars which still look the same. For example, a Porsche Carrera looks the same now as it ever did. But you get Porsches and Morgans and all kinds of entertaining cars. And, of course, the old-school Fords, the Mark I Escorts and those sort of things. Great fun, tremendous fun to watch.
Fantastic. Now, there's also lots of other things going on in Knockhill throughout July, so let's just go through some of the other events that are happening.
Please do.
I believe there's Total Jap Car Scotland that's on the 17th of July, and that is the first ever Jap-only show for Japanese cars, and it's run in conjunction with Total Car magazines, I believe.
That's right. And Total Car magazines, basically, they have, I think it's 4 titles. There's Total Honda, Total Subaru, Total Evo, which is basically based around Mitsubishi Evo. And, for a moment, the other one has blanked out of my mind. But never mind. But basically, yes, a festival of Japanese cars. And, last month we had Total Ford, and it was great fun because there were Capris and all those sort of things here, and old Escorts and Cortinas and modern cars as well, and all the different clubs. There's the RS owners and all those people. So what we'll get this time round is the similar thing for the Japanese owners clubs, and there are a lot of people who are, aficionados of particular marks, or who just join a club because of the social opportunities, and the most of the owners clubs manage to negotiate substantial discounts, which means that if you join a club, you can usually get your annual membership back just by buying a set of tyres.
And not just that, it's also a bit of a day out for the family as well, I believe. I can see, yes.
Yeah, and there's also the opportunity, no matter what you bring, no matter what you drive, you can bring your own car along and try it out on the track. And it's one of the more interesting things, I think, that we do here, because the idea is that, people think of motor racing as being very, very exclusive. Only them and such as them and people with loads of money can go racing and so forth. Well, there are several things that gainsay that. The first, of course, is that something like XR2 racing is really cheap. And you can have a lot of fun doing that. But also, we regularly run track days, track evenings, and our hot hatch days, where you come along, and providing that your car is either A, street legal, taxed, MOT, and so forth, or B, is a track day car which is past one of our, we basically do it, give it a good going over and make sure that it'll receive a certificate of trustworthiness. And then you can get out, and we put cars out on a hot hatch day. It's a 10-minute session. 30 cars for 10 minutes. And we find that with a road car, when you're actually pushing it as hard as you want to or as hard as you can, 10 minutes is about all you want before you start running out of tyres and brakes.
All right, I see.
That's why it keeps it all safe. Because basically we try to explain to people that if you're out on a racetrack going absolutely flat out and hard on the brakes as you possibly can going in the corner, and really driving it properly and making the most of it in a place where it's safe to do it and there's no one coming the other way and there's no tractors, puddles or other unpleasantness, pedestrians, but the main thing is you can get out there, really enjoy your car, have a lot of fun, but you will put in 10 minutes about 100 miles worth of wear on the car. So we want you to be able to still pull up and stop. We don't want your brake fluid boiling and your discs so hot that they won't go anywhere. So that's the idea of doing 10-minute sessions, and we keep everybody safe. It's a lot of fun. It's basically
going crazy the safe way, basically.
You could say that, yes.
And now, just very briefly, we haven't got a lot of time left now.
Sure.
We've also got stock cars and the North East Motorcycle Racing Club coming up as well.
Yeah, well, stock cars, very briefly, we do that on a Wednesday night once a month in the summer. The guys come up from the race wall at Cowdenbeath. They get out onto the triangle at the hairpin here and have a blast. And it's good fun. And if you fancy some of that, it's from 6 o'clock on Wednesday evenings, and the next one's on the 20th of July. The North East Motorcycle Racing Club are based down in Darlington, and their home circuit is Croft. But they also go to East Fortune twice a year, and once a year they make the trek all the way up to Knockhill, just to give their members a different circuit to race on. But they are a very, very competitive, hard racing club, lots of fun to watch, and in fact one of my heroes, not mainly because he's a very, very talented rider, is a guy called Dennis Hobbs, who originated from the North East Club, won some of their trophies more than anybody else ever has, and is currently racing in the Evo part of British Superbike Championship. So good old Den is one of the reasons we like having the North East Club here.
Excellent.
And of course he'll be helping us to commentate that weekend.
Oh, fantastic.
So Den's he's a very, very talented chap. And just to finish off the month, of course, the Scottish Speed Fair and Classic Festival promises to be an absolute superb weekend, because we are celebrating, along with everybody else, the 50th anniversary of that most iconic of all British sports cars, never mind Mazda MX-5s, the E-Type Jag.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. So we're going to be doing that big time at the end of the month, as well as having, we have racing for historic and classic cars. We have a classic rally on the site here at Knockhill. We've managed to convert some of the perimeter roads and bits and pieces into a rally stage. We have a fantastic display of classic cars as well, and it's just a great weekend, and we always say it's for everyone from granddads to grandsons, because you can come and see what the old boy has been muttering about proper motor cars.
My dad does that once or twice, I have to say. But,
yes, well, bring him along. He'll enjoy himself.
I'm sure I will. I'll see what I can do. So, to find out how to book for these events and how to go to these events, what website do we have to go to?
Well, knockhill.com is really all you need to know. If you log on to knockhill.com, you will find out. You just click on the events button and you can see everything before you. And often, too, you can book tickets online and get a discount as against buying them on the gate. And to give you an example, he said the 3rd and 4th of September sees the Dunlop MSA British Touring Cars Championship back at Knockhill, and that is one we're really looking forward to, because of course our business development manager Gordon Shedden is a leading light in that championship. But when that's coming up, now a ticket on the day is £30, but if you buy it in advance it's £25, and can I tell you, there are bargains to be had.
Really?
So yes, so just keep an eye on the website. You can also give us a ring, of course. It's Dunfermline code 01383 723 337. You'll find the number on the website, so if you get at all, as I sometimes do, you're sort of tramping around a website and you think, where am I going? I need to talk to someone. The number's there. Phone us up, and the people in our office are really spectacularly well informed. I'm always impressed.
Fantastic.
So there you go.
So there we go. Now, before we finish off for this month, actually, now I was at the Scottish Motorsport Show last month, and I was taken for a ride in a Ford S-Max, not the car that you would take around Knockhill Racing Circuit. Particularly, it's a turbo diesel, so you wouldn't really want to take it around. But I was taken around the track by Olly Ross, a name you may be familiar with.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Oh yes, Olly's a very, very rapid racing driver indeed. But of course he would have been driving that car at the Scottish Motor Show as a demonstrator either for the manufacturers. Yeah. Yes, Ford were there, so it would be a manufacturer demonstrating drive. So he would be relatively sedate.
Yes, relatively sedate. I remember him asking me before we took off, now, do you want to go slow or really, really fast? And I think you know the answer to that one. I think
yes,
that's an obvious answer, to be
honest.
honest.
Pedal to the metal, get on with it.
Right, so here's a little insight with that chat with Olly Ross. And Garry, thank you very much for coming on to the Friday Night Lounge for us.
You're welcome, and can I just say to all of your listeners, get well soon.
Get well soon, fantastic. Thanks very much, Garry.
You're welcome. Bye.
See ya. Going round Knockhill Racing Circuit at the moment, and sitting beside me is Olly Ross, who's a racing driver and 3 times Classic Saloon champion. We're currently sitting in the Ford S-Max here, and we're going around about 80 miles an hour round Duffets, going around the Clark Corner just now. We're going up to the straight, and we're really speeding up here. So just tell us, what's the S-Max like to drive?
Very much like a saloon car, although it's a 7-seater people carrier. It drives and it handles very well, as you can see.
You wouldn't expect this to be a sort of car that you would take around the racing track and throw it around the corners, would you?
Certainly not, but any modern car nowadays is capable of doing this. Not recommended for the public highway, but as you can see, it's quite a safe beast here on a racetrack. 2-litre diesel, turbo diesel, and as you can see, it feels and handles like a wee sports car going around here. I'm very impressed with it, and I've never driven one before, you know.
And I've been around and this is the first time I've been around the racing track here, and it's very impressive for a 2-litre diesel, I have to say. You wouldn't expect it from a turbo diesel to be this very sporty.
No, they're very torquey low down, in other words, the power is low down. You can't rev the thing, really, but as long as you stay within the power band, it's quite an impressive engine.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're obviously a racing driver. You race in the Classic Saloons.
Well, I've been racing cars for... sorry, I'm just letting somebody pass in a quicker car. Yeah, I've been racing cars for nearly half a century now. I've won 18 championships in the last 49 years racing, so I've driven most cars, sports cars, GT cars, touring cars, and won championships in most of them. And I've always enjoyed my motor racing, and I love Knockhill, and I just come here for fun.
Is there any races that you're going to be doing in the next few months, or is it just take it as it goes?
No, I'll be doing the next racing at Knockhill, which I think is the end of next month, end of June. And then there's the Classic Series, I think it's the Classic weekend. And then the next big one is the touring cars are coming up from England, and our Classic racing will be supporting the touring cars. So I'll be doing at least three more races.
Excellent. Now, we're going to be starting a lap here at the Knockhill Racing Circuit, so let's just take us through the racing circuit as you drive, Olly.
Well, we're approaching Duffus now. I'm on the brakes pretty hard. I'm turning in at this point, immediately on the power, trying to hold the line down here. Stay on the power around the next bend, which is a bit exciting, as you can feel. Now we're turning into McIntyre's, fully on the power, allow the car to drift out, staying full on the power as we come up to the chicane. Slight lift for that, and then full power again, allow the car to drift to the outside of the circuit. Staying flat out, we'll go up a gear because we're running out of revs in this thing. And then under full braking, down a gear, coming into car loop corner, it's flat out, and the car, the electronics take over and say you shouldn't be doing this to a car, so it slows us down a bit. But and there we are, we're coming up to the last corner. They've shortened the circuit today, as you can see. They've taken away the hairpin. So that's us back round into the pits now.
Coming round just now, and we're about to finish the lap here, just coming on into the pit lane. I have to say that was an absolutely excellent drive. Doing roughly about 60 to 70 miles an hour, even more in a lot of the corners, and it's just an absolute amazing thing. I wouldn't expect it from this Ford S-Max, to be honest.
No, it's a super car for what it is. It really is very safe, very secure, and quite quick.
Olly Ross, thanks very much for taking us round the Knockhill Racing Circuit.
My pleasure.